I've loved horror my whole life. There's something endlessly fascinating about exploring the darker imaginations of the human psyche through this form of storytelling. I've also loved video games my whole life, so it's only natural that one of my favorite game genres is horror. The medium is perfect for it. Games immerse you in fear and anxiety in a way that other mediums can only project onto you. This is not to say other mediums are inferior. They have their own strengths, but it does present a special opportunity to game developers to rethink the way we communicate horror. Being such a fan of the genre, it's borderline criminal that I haven't played Little Nightmares until now. While this commentary is focused on the second game, I played both back to back to get a full picture of what this series is aiming for. It didn't take long to realize that they've got something real here. Little Nightmares 2 is a story about a boy named Mono and his companion Six, who we know from the first game. These two traverse through this very unsettling and unfriendly world they find themselves in, evading horrors and solving puzzles. You'll run, jump, climb, hide, and occasionally use objects in creative ways to progress. The puzzles strike a nice balance between simple enough to keep the pace moving and clever and satisfying when you figure them out. While nothing here reinvents the wheel mechanically, that's not really the point. The controls are intentionally simple and match that of pretty much any minimalistic puzzle platformer you've played before. There isn't much beyond the baseline platformer controls, but the game only takes about 5 hours or so to complete, and the levels are cleverly crafted and keep you interested the whole time, even with the minimal mechanics. There are a few level-specific items that you'll have temporarily, but otherwise it's pretty basic and fine that way. So it's not the gameplay complexity or innovation that makes this game stand out. It's the very meticulously crafted environments, atmosphere, and storytelling structure that cement it as such a unique platformer and piece of horror. From the moment you start the game, the atmosphere pulls you right in. The world you move through as Mono is dark, hostile, and unsettling, and the way you view it plays a huge role in that. Little Nightmares 2 is built as a 3D world seen through a fixed side perspective, almost like a stage play. At first it feels a little unusual, but it's deliberate. That design choice lets the developers control every shot like a cinematographer, using lighting, framing, and scale to make the environments feel really oppressive. That plus the sluggish, childlike weight of your movement, and you're left with this constant sense of vulnerability. That feeling that you're small, exposed, and one mistake away from being swallowed by the world around you. The sound design is just as powerful. For most of the game it's quiet. You'll hear board creaks, sudden thuds or clanks, or just the pitter-patter of Mono and Six's bare feet on the floor. That detail alone constantly reminds you of the fragility of children stuck in a nightmare. And when the music does cut in, it isn't comforting. It hums, drones, and spikes at just the right time. The world of Little Nightmares 2 is intentionally vague. It isn't tied to any clear place, time period, or dimension we recognize. It's dreamlike, and not in a whimsical way, but in a way real nightmares feel. Fragmented, disjointed, and impossible to fully explain. Going in, I expected something creepy and creative, but still leaning towards the childish side of horror. What I found instead was much darker and far more adult than I anticipated. That contrast between the innocence of childhood and the intensity of the horrific themes make the game hit even harder. It caught me off guard, and honestly, it made me appreciate it even more. The game is broken down into a handful of levels. They flow seamlessly into one another while still feeling distinct in theme. Each of these areas introduces a stalker-like antagonist, not exactly a boss fight, more like a living extension of the freaky environmental puzzle you're trying to solve. What makes them so effective isn't just their size or their ability to overpower you, it's how carefully they're crafted to unsettle. The teacher, with her stretching neck that snakes across the classroom, feels like a nightmarish interpretation of authority. The doctor hanging from the ceiling of the hospital turns the idea of help and medicine into something grotesque. They're exaggerated, surreal, and in a way, they echo childhood fears and anxieties. Mono and Six themselves are just as intriguing. We don't actually know much about them at all. Mono is simply a boy who wakes up in the woods next to a static-filled TV and a paper bag over his head. Six is our familiar raincoat-wearing protagonist from the first game, where she had to escape a ship full of grotesque child-eating adults. There's no origin story, no explanation of who they are or why they're here. In that way, they're just as strange and ambiguous as the monsters, and maybe that's the point. In a nightmare, even the heroes don't make sense. Given the vague nature of the world and its characters, it's no surprise that the narrative is just as ambiguous. There's no dialogue outside of the occasional "hey" Mono and Six call to each other. No hidden diaries to collect, no notes to explain the lore. You just press forward, observing the environment and taking in what you can. That's not to say nothing happens. There is a story here. Mono wakes up beside a static-filled TV, and after rescuing Six, the two make their way into an eerie city full of faceless citizens hypnotized by their TV, or just sets of clothing with nobody inside them. Shout out to my boy Dr. Seuss. As you progress, you start to piece things together, but even by the end, you may not fully understand it all. The game offers clear story moments, and there is a generally accepted interpretation, but it never spells anything out, and that's part of the fun. It's the kind of game you finish and immediately jump on Reddit to see what theories you missed or what other people saw that you didn't. And I love that in games. But the best part is, it doesn't even need that to work. If you strip away the theories and explanations, Little Nightmares 2 still functions as a brilliant embodiment of childhood fears and surreal nightmares. That alone is impressive. The lore and community interpretations are just icing on the cake. In the end, Little Nightmares 2 is a perfect reminder of why horror works so well in games. They crafted a world and made you walk through it, feeling it pressing down on you the whole time. From its world building and atmospheric design, it captures the fragmented and surreal experience of a real-life nightmare, out of your control and impossible to fully explain. It's not the gameplay mechanics that make this game special, it's the way every element comes together to immerse you. For me, Little Nightmares 2 isn't just an awesome piece of horror, it's a great example of how powerful the genre can be in this medium. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to support the channel. And until next time, cheers.